What you've just seen is alleged UFO footage that has come out of the UK. Now, the UK, ever since Lakenheath, has been just an absolute mine of UFO footage. It's been here, it's been there, it's literally been absolutely everywhere. And we're going to take a look at some of the greatest footage that's come out over the past maybe 24 hours or so since the Lakenheath incident. Now, there was an incident over RAF Bryce Norton, but I can't seem to find that footage anymore. So if anyone's got a link to it, please link it in the comments below. But, you know, there has been a lot go on over the past kind of few days, especially, you know, over in the UK. I'm not sure what it is about the UK. Usually it's the US that you see all of this stuff, but no. For whatever reason, the aliens have chosen us today. Anyway, the first one, I'm not sure 100% where in the UK it was, but it has been sighted in the UK. It's about 3-minute long footage, but let's take a look. Right, so usually I like to let the footage run through so you can kind of see it uninterrupted before I kind of give my take on it. So, when I first saw this, I initially thought that has to just be stadium lights, right? You know, the way that like the lights move across, it looks like spotlights from a stadium. It could be from a concert, it could be from a football match, it could be from a sports event, it could be from anything. But then as I obviously watched on, you very quickly notice that the lights move in a very organised manner, which isn't, uncommon for stadium lights. They're obviously pre-programmed sometimes to do certain things. But then you notice how far out they go. Now, stadium lights typically would have a bit of a spotlight, almost like, when you point a laser, you can kind of see the beam from the stadium up to the sky. And that's the first thing I thought. I thought, there's no like indication of like an actual source of light from the ground. And then I continued to analyze, and I thought, well, if these lights were stadium lights, right, like floodlights, for example, and maybe this is where the stadium's located, why would they be pointing spotlights all the way over here? And how would they still be so perfect? And then you notice that one darts off in the background, one then they come back, and then all of a sudden, you start to realise this little thing right here starts to come into shot. And then all of a sudden, you've got this bright light that seems to be illuminating its own, or giving off its own light source, right? And this I can't explain, because this looks like a light source in and of itself. So that's either a helicopter, it could be a drone, it could be, I don't think it's a plane, it's too stationary to be a plane. Whatever it is, it's giving off a light source. And then, these things continue to dance around. But then I look here. And this is where I start to think, well, maybe this is a spotlight. Because you can see that the light goes from perfectly circular here to, as it comes over here, it's almost as if you point a torch and you angle it, the light starts to like expand across the wall or across the ceiling or whatever. Because obviously that's just how lights work. And if it's hitting the clouds, obviously the light source is going to hit here, but then it's going to bleed. All right. And then I thought, well, maybe these could just be, but then there's like multiple of them at one point. And it's really hard to know whether this is legitimate UFO footage, whether this is some kind of drone show, or whether this is like stadium lights. But then they just disappear. They just dissipate into the sky. They don't just suddenly stop. They just like kind of fade out. And I can't explain it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm torn between like stadium lights and actual like something up in the sky. I can't make head nor tail of it. But the next one comes from somewhere where I actually used to live, which is Buckinghamshire in the UK. Buckinghamshire is just outside of London, and yeah, this is some footage that was captured in Bucks, UK. Now you can see why this one caught my attention. This isn't stadium lights. This isn't helicopter lights. Potentially drone lights. Everything gets labelled as a drone these days. But what's interesting, of course, to me, is the pulsating lights. The way that the lights pulse in and out. They're not consistent. They're not just solid. They pulse. And they kind of, pulse. Like if you see a plane or a helicopter, the lights underneath, like, blink. They're on and off. They're on and off. They don't fade in and fade out. They don't fade in and out. They pulse, right? So they're there, then they're not. Then they're there, then they're not. This, though, this is very, very different. This is, these are coming in and out of frame. They're like in and then they're out. Something, whether this is multiple craft, whether this is just one craft, like one huge craft, I don't know. The way that the lights come up at different times would indicate to me that there's three separate entities, but I can't make head nor tail of it. I don't know if this is truly one or multiple craft, but I definitely think that this is something up in the sky, like, and it's not, to me anyway, it doesn't come across as like a human thing, because obviously our lights, they blink, because they're harsher to see, they're easier to spot. And that's the whole point of flight safety. Anyway, the last one comes from London in the UK at 5:27 p.m. All right, so here is the footage right here.
Above the block. That ain't the moon. It's not a star. For reference, the stars are that far away. That looks like it's sitting above the block.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those ones that's really difficult to make out because there's not loads of context. What we have got to work off of, a bright light above a block, okay? Obviously, it's very bright. They did provide the context of actual stars, so we could actually see. Satellites, not this bright at all. This is definitely something illuminating some kind of light. And it's coming from the source, right? So the source being that object up in the sky. You can see the stars in the clip that you showed, in that part of the clip there. This is not a star. This is not a satellite. This is something that's there. Again, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's London, okay? And there's no insult to anyone that lives in London. But, you know, like, is it uncommon for helicopters or police helicopters or police drones to be out searching for someone? No, it's not. So we've got to take into context and consideration the location that this was actually captured. Again, out of the 3 clips, this is like the weakest one in my opinion. I think this one can very easily be explained as potentially a search helicopter or a search drone. Obviously, if you have a look at the clip to begin with, you do spot over here a plane with the blinking lights moving away from, with the red and white blinking lights moving away from that light source. So it's clearly not a plane, but, you know, out of the 3, I think this one's the weakest. Obviously, I'm still stumped by the first one. The second one's probably the strongest in my opinion. And the first one I think could potentially be some kind of stadium lights. But I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you think any of these clips could be down in the comments below. Is this actual footage of UFOs over the UK? Why over the UK? Why now? Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts and opinions. Yeah, jump to get the hell out of that like button while you're down there. Subscribe if you're new. Until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.